From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. Are we at a tipping point? No, it seems like we're at a breaking point. Today, Nancy Pelosi called all Democrats into a meeting to announce an impeachment inquiry. I guess the pressure grew to be too much. Is this really happening? Is the House of Representatives ready to up and impeach the man in the great office, the great and all-powerful Oz, this man behind the curtain of democracy? Is this the big moment? Has the math somehow changed? Because the last I recall, we didn't have the numbers, but wow, what a difference a summer makes. President Trump confirmed today that he withheld military aid from the Ukraine. Is it the Ukraine or just from Ukraine? I don't know. I call it the 405. I guess I'll find out one way or another. Tell me, am I saying it right? Is it the Ukraine or is it just from Ukraine? He says he did it because he thinks that the United States was contributing more to Ukraine than other European countries were. But his TV lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has admitted that they were really messing with Ukraine aid in order to pressure them into investigating his political rival, Joe Biden. So what does this mean? It means the President of the United States may have used his position of power to pressure a foreign country into investigating a political opponent. And he sought to use U.S. taxpayer dollars as leverage to do it. Does this sound familiar? Collusion? Foreign meddling? Trump don't care. He's the honey badger of democracy. Trump don't give a shit. He don't care. He's going to be a corrupt man front and center, and he ain't going to hide it. A lawless man. He's going to do whatever it takes to hold on to power, and he's learned nothing from the Russia investigation. Why? Because he got away with it. Why would he learn anything different? Or at least he has so far. So how did it all go down? It was a phone call in late July, which was preceded by not just a threat, but an order. Trump told his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, to hold back almost $400 million of military aid for at least a week before Trump spoke to the Ukraine. Well, spoke to the Ukrainian president. And imagine it like this. This is military aid, and I don't know everything about them. I really know very little, but I imagine that the military funding is to help safety and protection. So you're holding back a check that they're assuming is coming in the mail. Maybe it's like it's the 4th of July. I don't know. It's going to be in the mail. He told us it would be here, and then call a week after it's gone to then tell them. He might not give it to him unless he goes along with his political, scam is what it is. He wanted him to squirm a little bit before he got on that phone call to be the closer that he is. Hey, Ukraine, let's get dirty with politics. Now, on that call, Trump allegedly asked the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, now I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that's my best attempt, to investigate Hunter Biden, the son of former vice president and possible 2020 opponent Joe Biden. How do we know this? An intelligence official whistleblower has reported the call to the Intelligence Agency Inspector General. Those are the proper channels, yet the Trump administration has blocked Congress from seeing the complaint. Will the great and powerful Trump shake this off and continue to own the libs no matter how corrupt a criminal he is? Or will the Dems get a spine and say, no, sir, you have crossed the line once and for all? Are the children really our future? We used to believe so back in the 80s, but it's hard to know these days. We don't even know if there's going to be a future. In the Trump era, time and again, we're looking to little baby teenagers who seem to get the world a whole lot more than the adults that are supposed to be, the adults in the room. Nowadays, the adults don't lead. It's the little baby kids up front leading the way on basic survival. On Friday, crowds of people took to the streets to demand aggressive measures against climate change. It was unlike what most climate activists had ever seen. They were young, they were diverse, and they were overwhelmingly girls, which, I don't know, makes me think that maybe next time around it's going to bring the boys too. I mean, somebody's got to lead. We have a new wave of activism in society that's being led by a woman sparking a youth climate movement leading a generational shift. The icon of young climate activism is 16-year-old Greta Thunberg. She sparked the school strike movement when she began protesting alone outside the Swedish parliament more than a year ago. A year ago, it was just her skipping school to protest climate change, and now it's hundreds of thousands around the world. Yesterday, the 16-year-old eviscerated world leaders for not doing enough to tackle the climate change crisis. In Thunberg's speech, she is visibly frustrated and at times appears to be holding back tears of anger as she addresses the UN General Assembly. People are suffering, she says. People are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing, we are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us, and that you understand the urgency, but no matter how sad or how angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and kept on failing to act, then you would be evil. And I refuse to believe that. Yeah, that's what she said. Today, Trump administration officials threatened to withhold federal highway funds from California, arguing that it had failed to show what steps it's taking to improve its air quality. Oh my gosh, this is really head-spinning. I feel like the goddamn exorcist over here. This move comes from the EPA of all places, as the battle between California and the Trump administration escalates. California receives billions in highway funding from the U.S. government every year, and the move could put those billions in jeopardy. The Trump administration is punishing California for their air quality, yet just last week, the EPA joined the Transportation Department in revoking California's right to set stricter pollution limits on cars and light trucks. California officials have repeatedly argued that they have sought to impose stricter limits on greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles as part of a broader effort to tackle air pollution in their state. The Trump administration is blocking vehicle standards with one hand and pulling funding from California in the other hand for having bad air quality. How does that make any sense at all? Is the president using his power to just troll the state of California? I think so.